Scrapmaster's Paradise, and today I'm keeping it really casual. I worked out a little bit earlier and I just didn't feel like getting prettied up for you guys, so you guys get to see my new glasses. And I'm just wearing like sweats, and we're going to keep it super casual. This month's mini-series has been requested over and over again. It's all about just taking your crafting and your online presence up a notch. So in this series we're going to cover blogging, video making, of course, you know, everything I say are completely 100% my own opinion and how I do things. There are tons of different ways that you can do all the things that I do, and those ways are great too. I'm just going to tell you what I know. So I've had so many people ask me like how I got started, why I decided to make a business out of scrapbooking, and all sorts of questions along those lines. So today's video is all just about my story, and I wanted to keep it casual and just tell you guys everything. I'm going to tell you guys the things I did wrong, the things I did right, and I've had questions like, how did you get to be so successful? And to me that's so funny because I don't feel like I'm successful. I feel like I'm just sharing what I love. And so to me, like, I don't see that as successful or unsuccessful, but to be called successful by other people just totally shocks me. And I'm so thankful that you guys think I'm successful, because I definitely don't feel that, you know. I don't feel like, dang, I've made it or anything like that, you know. I'm just doing what I love and enjoying it. I think a lot of my success has been pure luck. I don't think I did anything different than most people do. It just happened to be pure luck. I've seen some bloggers with millions and millions of followers that their projects aren't that great, right? Their grammar might not be that great. And then I've seen some bloggers that have incredible items. They just make works of art and they have a couple of thousand followers. So I really don't think it's about somebody being more talented than the other. I don't think it's necessarily about if you put money into it. I think it's a lot of pure luck, but at the same time there's a lot of steps you can take to make your blog and your YouTube more exciting. And so I will talk about that more in this series. So today I'm just talking about me. So I'm going to tell you everything. Growing up, even like as early as I can remember, I knew I wanted to be an artist. Anytime anybody would ask me when I was a little kid, I told them I was going to be an artist. My mom had some friends. It was a husband and wife, and the wife was actually a professional artist, like did paintings, sold paintings in galleries, you know, traditional, what you think of as artist. And so I looked up to her, and one day she jokingly said to me, "You don't want to be an artist. Artists don't make money." I mean, that's basically what she said. And so I kind of took that to heart, and since that point, I mean, I was a pretty small kid when she said this to me. So at that point, I'm like, okay, I need to find something else to do. So growing up, I still took a lot of art classes. I took painting classes, sculpture classes, you name it, all the way up through high school. Even in college, I took a couple of art classes. So I still loved art, but all the while I was concentrating on math and science classes. I think in middle school and early on in high school, I decided I wanted to be a doctor, and I really, you know, concentrated on my grades. In the middle of high school, I moved to Tennessee from Colorado, and I got really depressed. This was after my 10th grade year. We moved just in the middle of high school. I started not doing as well in school. I had moved a couple of times during my childhood, but this move during high school was really, really traumatic for me. I had such good friends, and there was a guy that I majorly crushed on since middle school. We were just starting to like start dating kind of thing, and so it was really traumatic for me. I got heartbroken. I got sad because I missed all my friends, because moving just changed everything. I thought I was going to graduate with these friends and go on to college. We were already talking, you know, which colleges we were going to go to together, and I just got ripped out of all of that. I actually had to go to therapy. I mean, I was depressed. I didn't want to do anything. My grades slipped. School was never quite as important after that point. I still tried to get decent grades, but even through college, my grades were kind of mediocre. I still thought I wanted to be a doctor. In college, I was still, you know, saying I was going to be a doctor, still trying to get decent enough grades that I could still pull off getting into medical school maybe, but my grades just were not there. So during college, you know, my classes were really hard. I was doing pre-med. I actually double majored in biochemistry and psychology, so my classes were all pretty tough, and I just needed some sort of stress relief. I was always kind of artsy, and I really liked, you know, putting together picture collages and cutting things out of magazines. And somewhere along the line, I found scrapbooking. My first scrapbooks were like little books of scraps and notes and stuff, and this was from high school to 2005, and I graduated high school in 2005. So that was part of high school. It's just bunches of scraps taped or glued into a book like so. I ended up meeting my husband in high school, so we have a scrapbook. This was just our first year or so together, and it is just scraps, so it's like a balloon he bought, things like that, just totally scrapbooks. And then I discovered what you would probably consider real scrapbooking, the layouts, the 12 by 12s, and all that stuff. And I'm in college, and while my tuition and everything was paid for because I got scholarships, I didn't have a lot of extra money to spend on things. I had some part-time jobs throughout college. I would go to Michael's every once in a while and browse the scrapbooking aisles. I don't know if you guys will remember, but Sizzix made this tiny little red Sizzix, and you rolled your little dies through it. It only held those teeny tiny little dies, the little wafer thin ones. I think they're called Sizzlets or something like that. And that's all it would use, but it was like $50, and to me, $50 was out of this world, crazy expensive to spend on something scrapbook related. So my plan was to buy that and sell the die cuts on eBay, and so I did that actually. I started selling these die cuts on eBay, and you know, I was making a couple dollars here and there, nothing exciting, nothing big. Once I had paid off that $50 little machine, I would get more dies and sell more die cuts on eBay, and I loved it. I loved, you know, running my own little eBay business and keeping track of it. It was so much better than my part-time jobs. I could plan my own time, work around my college schedule, and I just thought it was the coolest thing ever. After a while, I ended up upgrading to the big red Sizzix, and it was one with the lever, and you pull it down, and you could use all the original size dies with this machine, and I upgraded to that, and I could sell more die cuts then. And so I was really excited. I upgraded to the next machine. I paid for that machine flat out, and then I made more money, and it was just kind of a snowball effect. Then I found the Cricut in one of the craft stores, so I decided to save up for the Cricut machine so I could sell the die cuts for that, and all this while I'm barely scrapbooking. And my first scrapbooks are what you would consider like sticker sneezes. They're just embarrassing, and I'm about to embarrass myself. I'm going to show you one of my first scrapbook layouts right here. Oh my gosh, it is so bad. This is pictures of my dog Taylor with me and my cousin Amanda. We were just taking pictures with my dog. This is right after we got her. I was 7 years old, and Taylor passed away in 2009. I did blog about Taylor passing and all that stuff because I'm a daily blogger now. So you can see these flowers are actually Post-it notes. I just used a regular old pen, and these die cuts, I don't even know what kind of glue I used on them, but there's like crusties around the glue, and it's obviously not the right kind of glue. I do plan on redoing these at some point, but I haven't done so yet. So you can see this is my first kind of scrapbook idea. That's what I did. I sold die cuts like these little flowers in my eBay store, and I had my own little tiny business, and I absolutely loved it. About the same time I found the Cricut machine and decided I was going to get one, I started finding actual scrapbook forums and seeing actual scrapbook pages, not just my sticker sneeze kind of scrapbook pages, and that's when I really got hooked. I learned different techniques from different people. I checked out other people's blogs. I checked out company blogs with a lot of tutorials and stuff. And so I was seeing all these blogs, and so in 2008 I decided to make my own blog. And at this point it's just randomness on my blog, very few scrapbook pages, and I showed a lot of the die cuts I was selling. So anything I was assembling, anything I was selling, I would show it on the blog, and it wasn't really a lot of my own scrapbooking because I wasn't really scrapbooking that much at that point. My classes were tough, and my time was getting dedicated to running my little store. more so than my scrapbooking or my blogging. So I just created the blog. It was kind of fun. Didn't do much with it. I was still looking at other people's blogs way, way more than I was, dedicating any time to my blog. Somewhere in 2008, through some sort of blog somewhere, I discovered Stampin' Up! I decided I loved stamping after trying some Stampin' Up! Stamps, and I became a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator because you could run your own business, and it wasn't like my die cutting business where I had to make everything and then send it out to order. At that point, I decided I wanted to grow my blog. This was the first time I decided I really wanted my blog to be something. I set my New Year's resolution for 2009 to be daily blog, just post a project or a lesson on my blog every day of 2009, and I pretty much did it. There were a couple of days I took off, especially with my dog passing away. I did take off some time for that, but overall I blogged most days in 2009, and I've blogged most days every year since 2009. I love my blog. I love that you guys love my blog. Along the way, I did every bad blogging mistake, blogging faux pas that you could possibly do. I spammed my blog address around, like anytime I'd go to a scrapbook forum, I would just post it everywhere. I did every bad thing that you could possibly do. But I learned over time what's good to do, what's bad to do. In 2009, I also discovered design teams. Again, I did every bad thing you could possibly do. I tried out for every design team I could find, and at this point, I was not good enough to even be considered for design teams. I don't know what I was thinking, but eventually some people did pick me for design teams. I loved challenge blogs because at this point I don't think my projects are all that great, but I'm learning as I go, and the challenges help me learn new things. So I absolutely loved challenge blogs. One of my favorite things I found was color combo challenges. Another thing that kind of played into me deciding to become a paper crafting professional, I have severe migraines. I had always struggled with migraines, and I have absolutely debilitating migraines. Mine are just horrible. I get the aura, I get numbness, I get tingling, I get slurred speech. It's almost like stroke-like symptoms. I mean, they're really, really bad, and they're really painful, and I'm either in the bathroom throwing up or in the bed. And mine can go on for a day or two, sometimes into a 3-day thing, and I was missing a ton of school. At some points during college, I missed more school than I could attend because I would just get sick. I would go through bouts of having migraine after migraine. My migraines got so bad I wasn't sure I was actually going to be able to graduate. Eventually, we did find a neurologist that did Botox, and at this point, Botox was not FDA approved for migraine. It was still kind of in its infancy. It was still not very well known of a procedure, but the Botox for migraine absolutely saved my life. I barely get migraines anymore unless something super stressful happens. Like I got a lot of migraines when we were buying our house. That was a really stressful time. We were in the middle of moving and buying our house, so I did get quite a few migraines back in the summer, but most of the time I'm migraine free now. This was the point when I was actually really sick, and I was thinking to myself, there's just no way that I can become a doctor, Physically, there was just no way I could handle such a thing as debilitating migraines as I had, but I'm extremely stubborn. I stuck with my plan. I was still trying to be a doctor, but even in the back of my mind, I knew this just wasn't right. It didn't feel right, and I didn't trust that inner voice that said, this is just not for you, So I ended up still taking the MCAT. I got average on the MCAT. I still applied to a couple of medical schools, and of course I didn't get in with average grades and average MCAT score. You have to be way above average, and I just wasn't. My heart wasn't there, and I was kind of relieved that I didn't get in. At the bottom of my heart, I just knew that wasn't the right path for me. Around this time, I found my two most favorite blogs ever. That's Christina Werner's blog and Dawn McVeigh's blog. And to this day, they are two of my absolute favorite designers. I get a lot of inspiration from both of them, and I think their work is just so amazing. And I'll link to both of those in the description below, so you can check those out if you don't know who I'm talking about. They're absolutely outstanding. They are still some of my biggest sources of inspiration, and they're part of the reason I do what I do. I got motivated from looking at their stuff and seeing how professional they were and seeing that they could actually, make a living out of paper crafting. They are two of the biggest reasons why I do this. I saw them and I saw how wonderful their stuff was. I wanted to be better and I wanted to be able to make a living out of it. And I saw that they could make a living out of it. So at this point is when I kind of switched from being pre-med to being paper crafty. My one and only card that I've ever gotten published in print. Don McVeigh was on the cover of the magazine, so I was really, really proud of that I got published in one alongside Don McVeigh. That was one of my proudest scrapbook moments. Then I never tried to get published again, but that's beside the point. And all the while I was still scrapbooking majorly, I was still blogging majorly, I had made some videos. It really just gradually built up that that's what I should do. I should try to make an actual career out of it and take it more seriously. In 2010 was when I was really struggling with what am I going to do because med school's not an option. I absolutely did not want to go to graduate school because both of my degrees are in things where you need to go to grad school to use those degrees, or I could just get a generic office job somewhere doing something. And all the while, what I loved about all the scrapbooking stuff I had been doing to this point is I could work around when I was sick. I could do it from home. That just fit perfectly with having some sort of chronic illness, and it also fit in with my passion. A lot of my happiness came from scrapbooking, so I was like, why not make a career out of it? So in 2010, I decided what I wanted to do was open an online store, design my own stamps, and sure enough, that's what I did. My husband was really on board with it, and we did everything debt-free, so any of our part-time job earnings, we saved some and the rest went towards my business. And that's how it was for a long time, trying to get my business off the ground. And in the winter of 2010, I graduated with a Bachelor of Arts in Psychology and a Bachelor of Science in Biochemistry, and I had a pre-med concentration. So I did end up getting my degree, even despite all my migraine issues, and I'm very happy I earned it, even though a year before I earned it, I already knew I wasn't going to use my degree. I started my business that same year that I graduated. It was harder for me than it was for most because I was so sick in the middle of it. So that's one of the things I'm most proud of, is earning that degree. I fought for it and I earned it. I did actually turn a profit my first year. It was a very small profit, but for a business owner, especially going off of being debt-free, to have any sort of profit is really good. And fast forward a couple years later, my business was growing. I was having trouble keeping up with it starting in 2012. And 2013, I was completely overwhelmed with it. You guys know this if you've watched some of my Sunday Scoop videos. I was in a state of complete overwhelm in 2013, and when we threw in trying to buy a house and trying to move to a different state, all in this, I got way overwhelmed. And there was a period of time I had no creative energy. I was just purely packing orders, not crafting, and not enjoying myself. I totally got burnt out. My husband got a really, really good job. I'm extremely fortunate to be in a situation where I don't have to make an income. I had to reevaluate and decide what I wanted to do, and what I wanted to do was not primarily run a scrapbook store. I did not want to expand, make it bigger. I did not want to hire employees. I did not want to have a warehouse. None of that. All I want to do is create stuff, inspire people. I really shifted gears at the end of 2013. I'm doing exactly what I want to do. And what I want to do is inspire you guys and create projects for you guys, create videos for you guys. I just feed off of that, and I feed off of your positive comments, and it fills me with joy doing those things. And that's basically my story. I went from creating layouts like this, very embarrassing layouts, to creating layouts like this that I'm very, very proud of. And this one I'll show on the blog coming up soon. I just made this one this weekend. From all of this rambling, you can see I've tried many different things in the scrapbook community to try to find what I wanted to do. I had a couple of years of primarily card making in there, and now I'm back to primarily scrapbooking, 12 by 12 layouts again, and project lifing. So I've really, over the years, evolved and grown. So I don't feel like I have necessarily been successful because I've tried a lot of things. I've kind of sucked at a lot of things. But I did have some level of a success along the way at each thing that I did, and I'm proud that I have all of those experiences behind me. But I guess success is relative, and I am really proud of the number of visitors I've had to my blog and the number of YouTube views I've had and the number of subscribers I've had to both. And I think it is really wonderful, and I love what I'm doing, and I love that you guys love some of the stuff that I do. So for this series, that's kind of where I'm coming from. I've tried a lot of things. I've found a ton of ways not to do things, and I'm going to try to share some of that experience with you guys over the course of this mini-series. I'm going to have 4 blog posts total. This is the first one. To go along with this video explaining my whole scrapbook life story to you guys, I have a blog post of my blogging do's and don'ts. So I'll have a link to that below. You guys can check out the blog post. Just a quick, easy list of some things that you should be doing and other things that you shouldn't be doing. I hope that'll give you guys some tips and tricks for blogging. And in my next videos, I'll cover more about blogging and YouTube video making and all that stuff. Since this is a series on professionalizing your scrapbook stuff and growing your brand, I would love to have your questions on what you would like covered in this series. Just leave me a question below and I'll try to incorporate that into my following videos in this series. I'm going to cover a lot of the questions that I've seen come up over and over again. I will also cover ways to earn money in scrapbooking. So I'll talk about a lot of different things in this series. I hope you guys enjoyed my story. Be sure to subscribe to this channel so you don't miss any of my videos, and check out my blog daily because I post a tutorial or a project every single day. Now I'll catch you guys in my next video. Thanks so much for watching. Bye!